Okay. Without further ado, anything else? I'd like to invite the Prime Minister to begin the debate. If you're comfortable, please introduce your pronouns before starting.
Wondering if I want to do this if I don't use the mic.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, my name is Amber. My pronouns are she, her. I will start my speech a few things to clarify first before the debate starts. Number one, this is not a debate about whether we should surrender or whether we should win the war. In fact, this debate is whether we should surrender or whether we should use in the balance of the war environment. What's the reasons that despite being wealthy, we're not able to win the war? Number one, we don't even have enough people. Like even if you convert every single person that is not already fighting for the country and bring them, you still don't have enough people, or just at best symmetrical, equal people to fight for the war, right? But you have to also realize that if the soldiers that already know how to fight spend just 1 week trying to train these kind of amateurs to take a sword and fight, they also have no time to prepare themselves, train themselves to fight. So in either way, you can't even get a proper army to put up with the fight. Then that's why we say there's no way you're winning. No matter which side you choose on job or on not, both are also going to lose. It's either when you lose in the form of surrendering or you just lose die in the battle, right? Number two, I think we have to see what's the interest of the king, specifically in a situation of war. You have to realize that maybe a king wants the support of people in normal times, but when it comes to war, the major focus of a king would just be for survival, because the king is going to be a major target, right? If you try to take down the kingdom, you're going to try to go after the king. So surviving, make sure that they survive themselves, and also make sure their people survive. That is the only focus, the main focus of the king in a war, right? And number three, I think we have to analyze the reasons of this war happening. We all have to agree that this war is not happening because the other forces see us as a threat. Because as what suggested in the Infoslide, we don't even have a big army to begin with. Even if we spend so much money trying to train our people are not even going to be able to, in a minute, our people will not even be able to put up the fight. So they're not taking us down because they're afraid that we will grow into a big army and will take their country back or something, right? So they have, and this is exactly why they have no incentive to actually harm our people. There's no reason to. We're not going to be powerful enough to take them down already. But the real reason that they are actually attacking us is for the wealth. We are a small but wealthy country. So the only reasonable explanation for that attacking our country is just to take whatever wealth we had and then just use their money for themselves, right? So we have to realize that by surrendering, we're able to negotiate, and then we acknowledge there's going to be a significant power, right? Because now we surrender to them, we have to play by their rules, and we understand the negotiating process is not going to be fair. But we admit that people are probably not going to live as happy lives as when we're not holding hands or whatever. But at least we would live, right? So I have two arguments to bring to you today. Number one, about the safety of the people, survival of people, and number two, how it seems better on the long term. So the opposition might have you to believe that it's all about preserving dignity. Even if you're going to lose, you must die on the battlefield and not beg someone to spare your life, right? But we have to tell you, first of all, the preserving dignity is not true on both sides, because both sides are going to lose either way. So what dignity are you going to talk about in losing, right? And if you are dead, you can never fight for dignity in the future. And a kingdom has no dignity for the king. Sure, just because you put up with the fight doesn't mean that people are going to remember you down in the long term. Like, oh my god, this king is willing to die on the battlefield. Yeah, hooray. No, no one's gonna think like that. Everyone's just gonna think like you're foolish enough to stand here and die in war, right? So number two, why I'm saying that dignity is still not going to happen on opposition sides because dying in war is painful. So dignity is going to be gone regardless. If you die in a painful way, there's no dignity to begin with. Because like if you lose in war, you're either going to be killed on the battlefield, or you might be captured back and then tortured and then beheaded after you're done playing you or whatever, right? Not going to happen on both sides of the way. And even if they're going to talk about dignity, we're telling you that survival still comes prior to dignity. Because number one, people focus on survival in dire situations, right? So this is not like what, like if I have 10 children that are starving, I'm willing to sacrifice my reputation to steal food for them. So that people, when in dire situations, they're going to focus on survival before anything else. Dignity is not even going to play a role in situations, right? Before I move on, sorry.
What's likely to happen with people within this country itself once they are under the control and the rule of the rival?
I was just about to talk about it in my second point. I'm going to talk about the long-term benefits. Right? So you have to realize that what's the direct benefit is like we're going to talk about the quality of life. So you don't surrender at all. The worst, the situation that happen to you is that all of the 20,000 people is going to die. That's it. But if you let them take you over, like yeah, probably you would not live like as much of like a dignity like life. But at least they have the incentive to solve your problem now because after you surrender, you are part of that nation, right? Obviously, if they want their country to have a good reputation and look good in front of other countries, they're going to have to solve the problem. So any social issues or any poverty, they don't want people to know that, oh my god, that's a country that like colonized another country and the people are like living on the streets, right? They just want to prove that they're wealthy enough to actually take care of these people. So they have the incentive to actually solve their problem. And they're going to want to save, they also want these kind of people to work for them to help them boost their economy, right? To actually provide education and jobs to these people. Okay, and another part I'm going to talk about is that in terms of a lot of dignity, because you have more options, when you just surrender, people are not going to put that much focus on you, right? Now you can control your own time. It's not having 1 week to prepare for a fight that you know that you're going to lose. Now maybe you have like a decade, 2 decades. However long it will take, right? For you to prepare for a proper protest, a rebellion, or whatever, you can train underground and it's more likely to go unnoticed compared to like you training for the 1 week because like obviously they're timing you, they will know whatever you do, right? That all these things that the benefits are brought out, we told you that okay, maybe it might not happen because this is our best case, right? But at least in our best case, we have some sort of benefit that benefits the people, right? And at our worst case, the heart is symmetrical. Both sides are going to die. That is the worst case. But at least on our side, we have a chance of surviving and we have a chance to live like a fairly good life. It's not going to be as good as what we started with, but at least it's going to be good, good enough for the survival of the next generation, right? So for the kingdom, if I as a king, I'm willing to take this sacrifice.
Prime Minister, like leader of the
Mm-hmm. During the speech, first I have a speech behind, which is the incentive working. So the incentive working should have want to have power in control of the kingdom. So because the king is born in this status, they are unable to associate or really accept themselves being other status, then their current status, which is being in the royal family, being the king. And since young they are really given that much power, which unable to accept them, which unable to associate them with other things other populations than the current status. And also they think they brought we can build up for far so long. If they get took away by other troops, it's not the king's incentive. They will not be happy with this. And also they wanted to preserve their status and preserve their wealth and not getting their country's property taken away by other people. So now you have the incentive for the king. Now we want to prove the incentive that as you proven the incentive for our answer, you now can be how is it likely to win? First of all, we have the citizens to fight for us. So how they prove it? A, we have laws and conscription that to mandate people to join in the ancient times. And also B, they had as they are people of this country, it's more likely for them that they are more familiar with geographical location to set up traps and set up things to attack their enemies. And third of all, we have from the most satisfied status.
So you're telling me that with this you are able to fully fortify the train your army by 20,000 royally armed troops and also be able to.
We cover that later, but I'll say it now, is that your motion that you also mentioned how is it multi-country. It's more likely that we are able to afford weaponry. It's more likely that they are able to like hire army from other countries. And also considering their wealth status, it's very likely that they have gained like all this money they gain from trading from other countries. More likely they have really good diplomatic relations with other countries. And also now move on with this small reason status. It's very likely that they are able to counter the attack to it. And also move on talking about the house of surrendering. First of all, you are subjecting yourself to rule other people, which as how you mentioned in the study of king that king does not want this to happen. And second of all, they will behead the king first because in the ancient times, in order to weaken the opposition, there's more likely to wanting to kill attack the king first because he is the one to provoke revolution and in this life and death situation, it's very likely that the king will not do the action to surrender. And also, it's very unlikely for the troops to sweep off the village, the property of the kingdom, which is what to steal everything out of their things, which as I said in the interview that it's very unlikely that the king wants to do. And also D, when the people come, they see that it's very likely that people will die because when they surrender, if they surrender. Because when troops come in and see that they are not the people for the same kind of time, for example, like racial difference in religion, it's very likely that they will want to kill them because this is how. And also, as I mentioned, it's very likely that they will use the money they have in the country because to hire the armies, to fight for them. So okay, now we just talk about the worst case of both sides, that both sides might have died, but we say that it's better on our side because at least before the kingdom dies off, we die in legacy, we die the moment that we unite. It's far better than on the government side where you die being surrendered. And also, as I mentioned in front that it's very likely that you die after surrender because how religion is very likely to kill them. So at the end of the day, the worst case of both sides will die. So it's better on our side because we die in legacy, die in unity. This has the end of my speech. Thank you.
Conversation by
All right, everyone can hear this? Good. Starting speech in 3, 2, 1. It's fairly symbolic the way KSVP has played out. Last week, I gave Divvesh and Manasvin the win for MNSVP in OG. Now here I am in OG with them up against me in the finals. This situation is going to be very similar here, because I'm going to very clearly explain to you why OG is going to take the finals and not Divvesh and Manasvin. Here's what's going to happen. I'm going to tell you why OG takes the win over the opening half. Then CG is going to come out and give you either a derivative case or something completely out of debate. And then CO is going to do the signature vertical extension, like vertical extension for the C, like it's marked into different words, but ultimately still be the same as O at the end of the day. Cool. Moving on towards a few engagements I have towards the opening opposition. They told us, firstly, that within the LO, you might be able to have a chance of winning the war. I want to point out really quickly that the main justification that we have in order to prove this premise is to say that you are a wealthy country with enough funds to properly supply your army, and therefore you're likely going to be able to have armed soldiers and fully trained individuals to defend your country by the end of the week. Here's a nuance that effectively goes to the entirety of the opening opposition. The wealth is not the only factor towards the success of your army. I think there are plenty of different factors you need to take into account in order to determine whether or not you have the capabilities of also defending your kingdom as well. You have different human factors, for example, because for your average person, it takes decades in order for you to manage to learn how to master a sword. I would posit that a peasant who has a week of fighting experience barely has the ability to wield one. But secondly, I think there's also psychological harm that comes towards the path of these individuals, because the thought of them entering into war, killing people, and the threat of getting killed is something that typically will take you more than just a week for you to get over in this event of war. So in this event where you have to train 20,000 of these people with all of these similar problems, I think there's a very large barrier towards you being able to also have a successful army by the end then, no matter how much money you have. But secondly, I would posit there's also logistical problems that come along with training your army. Amber made it very clear, because you're not training these soldiers out in air. I would posit that the vast majority of the individuals that go into training these 20,000 peasant soldiers are oftentimes going to be part of the 2,000 elite troop, and these are individuals who are going to be dedicating most of the time towards training. What this then means is that while you're training your ineffective 20,000 strong troop, you are now going to also have 2,000 of your more elite troops, individuals who are more professionally trained, not being able to practice, not being able to train for themselves, and not being able to hone their skills in the event of war. I would posit this leads towards an overall decrease in the ability for your army to function. Because when all of the resources are focused upon training your army in order to defend the kingdom, compared towards actively still practicing these particular troops in order for them to actively hone their skills, either way that you pick, you're still going to lose towards the 20,000 more professionally trained troops that the enemy is sending. So I think that Bob is able to argue here they are capable of winning the war. I think you can just take the bullet, bite the bullet, and actively take the trade-off. You're going to lose the war. Here is a matter of whether or not you're willing to die fighting for your kingdom, or whether or not you want to live continuing, maybe fighting for a possibility to restore it in the future. But furthermore, it goes the harms of actively living under the kingdom on the enemy. They told us firstly that we hate the king, and therefore that's not part of our interest. I don't see how that's in any way exclusive towards the opening government. I think insofar as you're also going with your army fighting for your kingdom, chances of you getting killed on the battlefield, or even more, when they beat your army, they capture you and take you alive, they're still gonna be hate you. So on either side, you're still going to lose, on either side, you're still going to die. I think the worst case scenario on our side is also you're going to score. But in the case, maybe even in the case where maybe we die, I would posit that it's fine in the opening government. Because in the very least, there are some multiple benefits that have gone unengaged in the LO that we brought you straight from Amber's speech. At least, in the very least, your people will survive. Because your own self-preservation is not the only interest you have as a king. These individuals that have trust in you, these individuals that do believe that you have the ability to carry them through, also likely take up a very large chunk of the interest of you as a king. Insofar as these individuals both die and aren't sent to be killed in the battlefield, I think that's a far better comparative on our side. Moving on towards CO, because I'm going to assume based upon the POI that they asked Amber, they're going to talk about how exactly these people from these peasants from your country are likely going to have very terrible lives in the nation, right? So if O is smart, they'll finish this out in DLO so that they box out the CO, right? But the problem with this entire argument, I think, is that Amber already gives you plenty of reasons why these people are going to live fairly sufficient quality of life from the very get-go. Because the first thing that we give to you is that the enemy nation isn't attacking you because of the people who are barely even a threat to them when the majority of a military force comes from 2,000 people compared towards deaths of 20,000. I would posit the main decision-making factor then was the idea that you are a wealthy nation. They came for your resources, they did not come to harass, they did not come to murder, they did not come to kill your people. So as long as these individuals are still going to live, I would posit that's already far better compared towards their side where all the people are dead. But secondly, I think there's plenty of reasons why the country is likely going to also want to cater towards the people. Threefold that we gave to Amber. Firstly, you want to properly like use among impoverished people, like that's like just for general sanitary reasons, like there's like not like the majority of individuals who are like poor and therefore like living on the streets, likely going to like damage the overall sanitary like part of your nation, and like just generally it's a bad look for your nation now. But secondly, I would posit that even in the case we don't buy this, the majority of the peasants are going to make up half of the population for this particular nation in the end. 20,000 to 50,000, I think it's fairly part, like major part of the population. In order to quell potential rebellions, they're likely going to want to also cater towards these people. But finally, I would posit that these individuals are also able to add to the economy because now you're giving them jobs, they're paying taxes. I think that this particular nation also gets benefits from still catering towards people and still giving them a form of quality of life. I'll take a point.
Does OG have long-term incentives on gaining autonomy from president? Sorry, does OG have long-term incentives on regaining autonomy from the people like invading you?
Probably, I don't get that POI because in terms of long-term goals, we already told you why like you're still capable of having unlocking more possibilities. One is a little bit later, but I think that the possibility of you regaining autonomy from your oppressors is pretty much gone on your side as well, because well, you're dead, so you can't do that. Okay, moving on towards what gave you the OG. Here are the reasons why we're the most important part around. I would posit that the most important training count for our speech, when we told you realistically, if you fight the invading army for with a week to prepare, you are loyally screwed. This is therefore not a debate about whether or not this is not a debate about whether or not you can fight and win the war, or whether or not you are able to survive. I would posit it's a balance of probabilities. We are likely going to die as well. But on a scale of probability, we are less likely going to die because we're at least capable of negotiating these individuals and at least bartering for the lives of the people that we rule, in contrast towards them, who sends all 22,000 people of the nation to actually perish out on the battlefield. But I think secondly, the ability for us still to be able to unlock more options in the future, i.e. train people on the ground from every speech, and furthermore the ability for us to still be able to unlock for us to still be able to be a symbol of hope for the people, likely is also it's also excluded to the voting ground, right? In order for you to preserve the life of these individuals, you have to go with voting.
Do you guys need the mic or I can just actually don't need it? Okay, fine. But I can't. Hello. Fine.
Wait, sorry, the Zoom meeting, I need to admit them inside and to remove the meeting as the password.
Okay. In ANBP 2021, I lost to Gelson on OG, and today I am actually going to defeat him on OG from OO. Okay. Let me point out the wrong, the premise of opening government, right? The problem with that is that they assume that the enemy on that house is one that has benevolent incentive, but they never put the likelihood of that. So it's not like proof why it's likely not going to be true. It proves a lot of their impact in what like the enemy probably wanting to preserve the life of people, or the enemy probably wanting to maintain the nation. This doesn't stand. One that the enemy is one that's going to be the nation, right? People already stated, right, that the enemy is one that's a powerful rival. The word rival probably suggests there's probably centuries of hatred between these two nations, or due to like post-conflict or due to like differences in regions to begin with, right? Probably the only reason why they're attacking now is because like probably they see an opportunity, or probably because like because like they think like after 20 years of war, like what Johnson say, they think they're ready to fight them, right? But I think it really say if it's true that they're attacking for their war, right? I ask you why you want to negotiate for wealth and only obtain some amount of wealth, and you can literally just attack a nation, slaughter everyone in villages, and obtain all the wealth, right? If it's true that like the characterization to what say that the main incentive of this enemy is wealth, I think the main incentive is that like give all the wealth of the nation and just like a few amount of wealth to negotiations, right? Now just like come up here and say, oh, because the reason because of this is because like we don't want to waste military, right? That's why like probably going to go to negotiations. We say it's more convenient for them to waste like a few men or waste a few men in battlefield to obtain more wealth to create a like bigger army in the future, or even like probably like conquering more nations in the future, right? Plus, if this like few later and I could feel why they have no incentive to preserve the kingdom at all, because you know how the main incentive as stored by that is for, and probably how the people that increase suggested like things like rivalry, right? Things like the fire. So they say, but the only thing that they say is because like, oh, they want to be part of like, because these people will then be part of their nations and therefore they have the incentive to want to please them, then like you don't piss them off and then like you don't like them, right? I think this is not true, but it's because I this costs more to want to sustain a kingdom, right? I think it's just easier to just wipe off the entire thing than to like set up governments or set up different ministries to guard people or to even educate the people, right? I think it's easier just to wipe them off than to do so. But I think you say that the enemy is not down. They won't want to like the enemy won't want to like govern people who knows obviously hate that I just like take from like the rivalry, right? They wouldn't want to like govern people who have like centuries of hatred against them, or probably have like a difference of religion against them. And for these reasons, right, it also probably suggests that the people that they want to protect or down the house probably not going to be due to the differences that exist within the school, or due to like the centuries of hatred that exist within the school, right? And now, because of all these reasons, we say without the house, the enemy will be able to preserve both the kings and the kings and the people's life, right? And this what leads to the only alternative you can take. It's either you die to surrendering, die to losing the war, or you win the war. Here's how I'm going to win over opening government. The way we win over opening government, the reason why opening government is like, why we couldn't win, they just doesn't stand, because it's trying to point things like psychological and logistics, right? So in our like previous previously, they're not based on like psychology or like based on one state. There are also other factors they never put into account. We say things like we can literally hire other private armies, other nations to fight for them, consider how whose country wealthy they are, or simply consider how whose country wealthy they are, they probably have a strong diplomatic relationship with other countries. But like probably the only way they get the team around is probably like either from ancestors or probably to like trade with other nations. We should definitely probably have a very strong relationship with other nations to begin with. And because of this, if other nations do not want to do the very like strategic economical partner, it's likely that they will want to fight for them, but they likely like be able to give help to this nation to begin with. But only person tell you like they also have a strategic advantage because they're the only person that knows this like geographical location. Because enemy probably comes from the north, right, as stated by this slide. So probably like a very different weather conditions, like the geographical location there is different. So no matter how much training you do in these spaces, you're probably not familiarized with like the geographic location that exists in these spaces. So either way, meaning the people still have sort of advantage, or the army still have sort of advantage over them, right? And because of this reason, we didn't feel a likelihood of winning. And in so far, like opening government and ruling government cannot take down this. We say that it's better to stop surrender. But that's just you and why we just do not want to surrender, not sure.
Brilliant way of speaking. But insofar as this country is also deemed to be a very powerful rival plan, why exactly is it the case that all your allies stand people you pay within?
The simple thing is number one, I told you can like hire like you probably can hire other private troops, right? There's like private troops around the elite like area, probably like from other villages as well. But also we say that we also see things like how we have better veterinarians, right? So you say how incredibly wealthy you are, this is better veterinarians. But I like to suggest to you the fact that this like nation itself, though it's a very small nation, means that they probably are mentally prepared to get invaded any single time, right? And because of this reason, they like have a lot of preparation in advance, whether it's setting up traps or whether or not it's like preparing armies or like preparing better relations or even preparing better veterinaries to begin with, right? So what does it do? What does this prove to you? It proves to you that it's not likelihood of winning on down. Now, the thing with down right now is very contradicting. So they say the incentive of the king is to preserve their life, but the very thing that they say, oh, it's okay for the king to die, because he's going to die in the way of both sides, we have more people. This is contradictory because like technically they put their own incentive, right? This is only also how the king has some degree, like some probability of survival, because like when you don't surrender, you don't get invaded. But if you surrender, the reason why you want to persecute you either way is because you are the leadership figure as suggested by the motion. So in order to like completely eliminate or weaken the opposition side and like prevent things like revolution or like coups in the future, you will have to defeat the king regardless, right? But also told you like how did like say we don't want to protect the king, we want to protect the people, or why the people are still likely going to die in the way supposed to. But number one, it's hard to govern the nation, and it's hard to govern the people. But secondly, you also say probably there's a centuries of hatred from past conflict. So probably like they have conflicts between these two nations, and they're probably going to slaughter the people either way, right? How I put to you this way? Number one, I put to you on why like the scenario of surrendering is one that's just unlikely, or one that's just doesn't bring any net benefit. But I tell you why there's a likelihood of winning and why it's better that everyone is dying or surrendering in general, right? And because of this, we have decided to oppose it.
Thank you.
Hello? It's okay. Hello, we think that the data that formed from the opening houses is the fact that both of them have an argument of fact, are you going to win the war or not? Which is what we're going to prove in closing government is even if you win the war in the end, even if your society able to like make sure all of your like country people are not dead by the end of the war, you're still going to be in a worse off state on their side. You actually choose to go against these people, right? Instead of already right off from the start. So, things that I'll go into a couple of rebuttals. So they want to argue about like the probability of winning the war, right? We want to point out the fact that the prop by what is it? The concept by the opening opposition is extremely identity, right? Because if you want to talk about the wealth, right? The main point of like making sure that you win the war is you hiring like other people from like neighboring countries or something, or like having your like your business partner or your close collaboration come and help, right? Which is why it is unlikely. For one, is that it's possible for them to like this most is that in a medieval country, and if they are even like 10 kilometers away or like a decent amount of time away, you don't have aeroplane to like fly them into your country to like make sure they can arrive on time to defend you, right? What if you just most terrorized? It is a powerful rival who is coming to a 20,000 troops. What is likely for your neighboring country, for your diplomatic relations, to even want to make themselves an enemy of that neighboring rival country, right? There is that like then if they think that like there is a possibility that your neighboring country would rather sacrifice you a smaller country off, even if you're alone, even if you're a good place to find, to make sure that they in turn are not antagonized by these countries. Because it looks like more likely, even if they go and help you, they're still like if you lose the war, they're going to be the ones who are going to be like attacked next, right? going into this, what is the main point that the pulling of government is going to bring to you today, right? Because we're going to tell you, like, since our opening was quite uncharitable in the fact that, yeah, the antagonist was on the worst case scenario for the organization, right? Because we're highlighting there's actually no way that you're going to win the war. But we're going to tell you about how, like, even if you win the war, it's still going to be it's still going to be worse off if you have not surrendered in the first place. So, proper characterization for like that meeting that have already been given. Actually, but I'll just read it now since I'm done. So it has been characterized that you are a wealthy country. It's most likely that what the point of this rival country wanting to come over here and invade you is because they want your resources, they want your trade, they want your economical status, right? And like the opposite trying to say like, no, even if you are a rival country, it's not like a generational hate. Even it's like the fact is that they need these people, they need the locals who know how to operate the resources, who know how to operate the technology in that city itself, who know like have the different rules and manage the economy. They need these people to survive to be able to help them enhance the economy, right? And if like the rival country is one that is not dumb, they will ignore the fact that there is opportunity for business. There are people that we need to let them survive to be able to make sure that they help us, right? More likely to happen on their side, right? We give you the incentive of why it's most likely that they're going to spare your people, right? Because that they actually need that. So if you're able to surrender, if you're able to negotiate, you're even if they're living like a lesser lineup, the most thing on their side is that they are going to be killed in the end, right? Because know that if you go and like even if all of you are not dead in the end, like you've just taken over the war and everything. What's more likely going to happen is that they have now like existing hostile relationship between your rival and the people, right? Because they know that in the war, it's not like that their troops as well are going to be sacrificed. Their people are also going to be killed. But what happens when people see like young Kumaravel be good in battle, they will have the active like hostility towards our people, right? Towards our troops as well. I mean that also loses you the trust in the people as looking at it's not about rebellion and everything. It's like even if you're like your people are like blindly trusting you, it's like their survival instinct and like the betrayal they feel that when they see their king send them to war and they see their relatives and they see their families getting killed in those type of war, it will like turn into something of losing their trust, right? Okay, we'll give you like our like most biggest exception is the kind of competition. Even if you win the war, like even if you drive out the rival entirely, what you're most likely going to be left with is you're going to be left with a extremely vulnerable city that probably doesn't have enough troops, that probably has instant troops, that probably doesn't have like enough of resources to back you up to make sure you're protected from another attack, right? What more likely to happen is that now if you are a rival, like if you're attacked who is literally well enough for like big plans who want to attack you, it's probably that there are other plans who are going to come back again, who are going to attack you, and now you're going to be left in an extremely vulnerable state, right? It's also possible of like that plan going back to their troops again, and not coming back with even more bandits, even more troops, even more hostile with it, and determined to actually get to be attacked and to be wiping out from this earth. If you and you're like, and on that side, you're going to be completely susceptible to that because they have decided to take on this work that they will not prepare enough for, right? So what's the problem on our side, right? What it looks like is that even if you surrender to them in the first place, if you now prepare this, right, you now have this giant rival campus, like many troops. It's going to like protect this. It's going to be wanting to protect this city, and because they want the economical benefits, because they want the resources, because they want like because they want all of those benefits, right? It's more likely that you now have like a sturdy protection that you even had before like surrendering, right? Because before surrendering, you had like only about 2,000 of like elite military troops. Now what you have is a protection of another class who is going to be actively defending your city and making sure that people in the city do not die because the local in your like country are the ones that are actually important, right? Towards like Yago. So if there are actually other the different kinds that now want to come and like do an extra you for a resources and want to invade you, it's more like that you have a lot of protection because you have this other big guy that is going to be protecting you now. So that's being brought to you right today, right? Exclusive like extension that we brought to you from our opening, which is the fact that even the China both stand for, like, even if you win the war, India is still going to be left an extremely vulnerable country that is like going to be successful to any other task in the end, right? So all those reasons never be problem.
Member of God, let's invite the member of
Okay, pronounce like here. Starting my speech in 3, 2, 1. If I learned anything from this debate, it was that the entirety of government would make horrible things. Because if we surrender immediately within the span of 1 week to an enemy which we probably can lead to some degree, is a surrender of not just your country, it is a surrender of legitimacy. It is a surrender of bargaining power, and it is a surrender of your people. CO is going to prove you 2 things in this debate. One, even on the best case comparative of OG, where it's a world where it needs to surrender immediately, one that's still comparatively worse than a world where eventually you surrender and lose. Second thing we're going to prove to you is why there still is ability to win the war. First extension here on why even if you lose the war, it's still going to be comparatively better on our side of the house. 4 layers of analysis here. Firstly, what an immediate surrender is going to look like and what it's going to entail. I think 3 things here, right? Firstly, it's going to be a demobilization of the military and the people themselves. So the invading conqueror is probably going to have an incentive to want to take away the weapons the military has. They are probably going to want to exterminate the 2,000 size large military that we have, given the fact that this is probably the only thing standing in their way of resistance. They want to do things like quash the possible ability to resist oppression in the future. Secondly, they're going to want to utilize and maximize and hoard all the resources from the country in which they are invading, because they probably want to send it back to maintain their current civilization. Meaning to say, they are probably not going to utilize these resources to develop locally. They're going to want to send back money to their capital cities to develop them there and take care of their people. So when Gelson tells you that they probably want to keep these places clean, I say it's complete BS. Because when has any colonizer ever given a shit about the people that are colonizing? Last time, the British didn't develop things like building of hospitals in countries like Africa. They left them to die. So I think the analysis that you want to protect the people in this country is completely untrue. Third layer then, on as to how we probably want to utilize local manpower. 2 ways they're going to do this. A, they're going to want to send them back as slaves towards their capital city. The reason they want to do this is because they want to develop them and they want to use them as key manpower. Because they probably want to educate the people of this country and have them work more higher paid jobs. So they want to utilize the local manpower that they have now, which is literally expandable. Second thing that we're probably going to want to do, they're going to want to enslave them locally and have them work at these resource deficits. Gelson himself conceded to this by telling you that the reason why they're invading is for these resources. I'm uninclined to believe that the people working at these mines are going to come from the invading country. Because why would you send your own people to horrible conditions? They're probably going to want to utilize the local manpower, have them work in horrible working conditions and enslave them for the rest of their lives, given that there's no incentive to give power back to them. Secondly, of analysis here, on then why losing upon surrendering, there's eventually going to be a long-term incentive to regain autonomy. I thought I had to characterize this, but Gelson himself considered to this in the POI, saying that eventually they're going to want to regain autonomy. Third layer of analysis here, on as to why then it's going to be incredibly hard for you to resist things like oppression, and it's going to be hard for independence movements to emerge. 4 layers of analysis here. Firstly, we need to have independence uprisings. You're going to need 2 things here. So you're going to need 4 important things here. 1, you're going to need to have access to key resources. So things like steel and tungsten, which are going to be able to help you build things like weaponry. They're going to help you build things like machinery, and which are going to help you fight your oppressor. I think you don't have access to any of these things on government side of the house because you have literally surrendered immediately. I don't think there's ability to have things like conditional surrender, given that it's a 1 week short surrender where you can choose which deposits that you want to have control over. Meaning all resources go towards these people. I
think the comparative here is when you hold out resistance, you're going to have some degree of control over certain key resource deposits. I think second thing you're going to need that is arms. I think I already characterized you as to why the military on government side is going to have immediate incentive to demobilize the people. They're going to want to take away all forms of weaponry that you have and all forms of weaponry that people have. This is simply occurring because you're surrendered immediately. Whereas on our side of the house, if you put up some degree of fighting, you're still able to hold out resistance. Meaning you still have access to what the weaponry, you're able to stockpile them to some degree. Because I'm uninclined to believe that the loss is going to be instantaneous or it's going to be immediate. Third layer of analysis, third thing you're going to need then, you're going to need morale from the people. We think to be able to run an independence movement and to be able to resist your oppressors, you're going to have to need your people to even believe in you, and you're going to have to be empowered. They're going to need things like nationalistic spirits. I think that's what's going to be pushing them. I think that's how things like guerrilla groups in other countries that are being oppressed are able to pull together support from the people. They're able to do things like mobilize the people through their centralized hatred for their oppressor. The reason as to why you aren't able to empower many people on the government side of the house is because you literally surrendered within 1 week. You didn't even pull yourself out, you didn't even test your ability, and you immediately surrendered. That is a sign of clear weakness, it is a sign of demoralization for any single person living in that country. I'm uninclined to believe that independence movements can maintain power. Fourth, the thing you're going to need here, bargaining power against your oppressors. I think if perhaps you want to regain entire full autonomy or certain autonomy, you're going to want to need some form of bargaining power. Meaning you're going to need to fight back, you're going to need to have like people who are actually resisting. So that's when your oppressors fear you because you're going to be able to fight back. Secondly, independence movements themselves are pretty big force in the side of colonizers by virtue of the fact that doing things like sabotaging key deposits of these countries. Thirdly, you're going to have to pose a substantial threat to begin with. So you're going to have things like access towards weapons. On our side, you're a possible threat towards these oppressors. But on government side, you are literally a non-existent threat by virtue of the fact that you surrendered within 1 week. All your bargaining power is lost by government. Third, the second key extension here on why there's an ability to even win this war to begin with, not economy. First, three layers, three things here. Firstly, as to why you have a strong military. I think the reason as to why you have a strong military is literally because these elite forces to begin with. They're heavily everything to expand on this. Secondly, is the fact that you have high amounts of wealth. So you've got good amounts of disposable capital. You're going to be able to create this and utilize the political leverage against other regions in the other key kingdoms in this region. Thirdly, is the fact that you have the respect of your people. As a king, you're able to immediately mobilize all your people. That is even greater incentive to push them towards training like harder. But I'm going to explain key extensions here, which OO didn't do. What exactly is the incentive for regions and kingdoms surrounding you who want to help you out? I think the reason as to why your allies have an incentive to fight you is because as a nation that is hoarding large amounts of wealth and resources, you're probably going to be trading these resources with these foreign kingdoms, meaning they want to sustain these trades because they probably don't want to be trading with some kind of oppressive regime that is now invading this entire region. Secondly, is the fact that this regime that is invading you is going to be seen as a threat for other regional kingdoms. Meaning to say, if other kingdoms will probably have an incentive to clamp down this like kingdom that is trying to invade you. By virtue of the fact, they're now a destabilizing factor in the geopolitical structures of these regions. Meaning the next possible target is going to be the allies of your country, or it's going to be the people who are living in nearby you. Meaning that there's a very, very strong incentive here for them to want to intervene. I think for all those reasons inside the field.
Remember about the government.
Okay, you can all hear me, right? Okay, so I'm starting my speech in 3, 2, 1. Okay, so what offside so far in this debate is the fact that almost like we will like I would say get completely honest. I would say we'll get really taken over by the rival groups if we surrender to them like this
like early on, before the battle has even started, within a week. Like, okay, let me just make this clear. Let me just make the characterization on our side here. You need to understand that this is a small city that has resources. Also understand that. I'm also taking into consideration the consequences of going on having an all-out war. What happens on your side is that when you go out into an all-out war, what's going to happen is that not only are your own troops getting risked, the troops of your own rival are getting risked too. Well, you need to understand that what your rival wants isn't true, because at the end of the day, you're a wealthy state. They are here majority like mostly for the fact that they want your resources. And by going to war with them, like by them going to war with you, they're also going to lose their citizens and their troops as much as you are going to lose. You're also, so like both sides will lose life anyway. So before I move on to my present, I have to start with some rebuttals. First of all, rebutting the leader of opposition. The main point right here is to prove their dignity. And number two, they've also said that they can use resources to train citizens to fight in the war. Like, first of all, you're basically telling me that you're able to train 20,000 civilians in a week to be able to go to war. Like, no, this just isn't realistic. And next, you tell me, like, you talk about proving your dignity. Like, what dignity is that to prove if you as a trusted king have already sacrificed all your citizens, all your resources, your integrity? This was an unrealistic chance at winning the war. Like, if I said your dignity is already gone. Next, regarding the deputy leader of opposition, they have told us that they can get help from other nations using their wealth, using their resources, using their connections. Like, sure, but time-wise and logistically, it just isn't feasible. Understand that we're in medieval ages. You can't just send a text like, yo, bro, I'm getting invaded, please send some troops over here. That's just not going to happen. It's going to take time, not only to get troops over, but to send a message over to let your allies know that you're getting invaded. So this just makes no sense whatsoever. Next, regarding the member of opposition, they have told that we won't be able to keep our resources in our world if we are present. We acknowledge that this could definitely play out in the event that we are oppressed and we are taken over. But we don't understand how this isn't mutually exclusive to on your side. Because like opening government has already said, I'm gonna say again, you won't be able to protect your resources anyway if you're already dead. So now going on to my comparisons and all, what I have brought to you today in this debate is like, first of all, why are these rival groups invading for the first place? It's not for racism problem, because back in medieval days, nobody cares about your race. We're not like okay, why would people care about your race? This has actually really nothing to do in the debate. I'm trying to comment this to prove that yeah, it has nothing to do in this debate. People back in the days, only thing they want is to be prosperous, and like only thing they want is to do better than others. It doesn't matter about your skin color, doesn't matter about anything. And in this case, you're a wealthy state that has resources. You're getting invaded not for the fact of racism, but because of the fact you have resources that other rival troops want. And like, also understand that let me categorize like again what these resources are like. First of all, resources, well, where does it come from? It comes from a trade, it comes from a business with other cities, with other states, and other countries. Like, and who operates these trades? Who gains revenue for these countries? It's of course the citizens. So it wouldn't make sense for the rival countries to go in there and say slaughter everyone. Because once you slaughter everyone, no one's going to be able to help you get those resources anyway, because of the fact that the citizens that you kill are the ones who are getting these resources in the first place. So that's what we have told you is that if you retaliate using violence, if you wage war against them, it only gives rival troops an active incentive to be hostile towards you because of the fact that you retaliated with violence. Like once you kill that troops, once you retaliate with violence, it's only going to give them more incentive to come back in the future once they have more troops, and they already have more troops than you. Once they have rebuilt their troops, once they have rebuilt what they originally had, it's going to give them more incentives, more hunger to come after you in the future anyway. So next, what I would like to go into more is how after you get invaded, after you wage war against them, after you retaliate, what's going to happen here is that because realize that the ratio of troops there is 1 to 10. You're 2,000 troops to 20,000 troops. That's just like, you're obviously going to lose. So like, what's going to happen when you go to war is that your troops are going to get killed, your resources, like you said, they're going to get stolen if you get oppressed. And what's going to happen is the state is going to become vulnerable. What happens when it's vulnerable is it gives other rivals, it gives other countries who want your resources a chance to come and attack you for these resources because of the fact that they read that now they understand that you're vulnerable. So now one more layer of analysis is that I'm trying to talk about what's been going on in this debate is both sides have been talking about the worst case scenario in what will happen when we retaliate war or if we just surrender. Talking about now I would like to talk more about what's going to happen. My first speaker has already brought this up in their speech. What's going to happen in the best case scenario if opposition side retaliate and if they win the war. Let's say if they win the war. Okay, what happens if they win the war? You win the war already. Yes, you win the war. Congratulations, clap, you win the war. What's going to happen then? Like I said, your resources are still going to be an all-time low. Your people are still going to be dead because you just can't escape the fact that people are going to die in a war on a battlefield. It's going to be a bloodbath. Doesn't matter what you do. Your resources are still going to be lost because of the fact that you spend money on getting more food, because of the fact that you spend money on trying to build your arsenal just to take down this troop. What's going to happen is, like moving back to my previous comparison, it's still going to leave you vulnerable anyway. And because you already have less troops, it gives other troops from other countries who want the resources more chance to come and take over your country. And in the end, it'll be you're still gonna lose anyway in the future. So it doesn't safeguard you in the long run. So with that, I've given my comparisons, I've given my analysis, I've given my reporters. So with that, I would like to end my speech. Thank you. Can you hear me? All right. Give me a second. Okay, are we going in 3, 2, 1. Panel, we think the moment you surrender, you lose the only political leverage and tactical advantage you have over the individuals coming to invade you. I'm going to give you structural reasons why we take over other side because they put on so many assertions and they didn't even engage with us. And I'll finally provide clashes and even on our worst case why we take this debate. So on to my calls. First was the assertion coming from OG. They talked about once you have been conquered by this malicious invader, they're going to be benevolent to you and they're going to probably protect you. Panel, they never prove why individuals who have no capability to fight back or even protest against these people. Individuals who did not have bargaining chips against their oppressors actually were in the interest of this malicious actor to come and protect these individuals and protect them properly. Divvesh tells you, because Gelson made the metric of this debate to judge whichever side is going to win this debate is the side whichever helps the people. The entire claim to this was hinged on, firstly, that they will kill you immediately. Secondly, it was also about that there is a benevolent intruder coming. Divvesh already told you that this isn't true by the virtue of them, what they basically get from you the moment that they invade you. They never actually had the incentive to do this. I'm not taking up you are right now. But OO also made a strategic mistake. They never engaged with OG on how the world will essentially look like because Gelson asked them about what happens once you find out these individuals and even on your worst case how this will look like. Then to explain to us because all of their arguments were hinged upon the fact that these individuals are going to have a better life. They needed to prove on their best case how they're able to preserve the life of these individuals and how they're able to have how they're able to have a better life and thing. We take over our opening side. But CG basically just ran a parallel case compared to OG, except it certainly just misinterpreted half of the things that Divvesh said, and they didn't even engage with us. But onto my rebuttals. Basically, you have possibilities to unlock, where you can gain autonomy over your oppressors. This is going to be directly against OG.
Firstly, when you invaded, Panel, your wealth is pillaged away, your state is disarmed because of because you're and you have an elite military, so the various military capabilities you have are likely to be disarmed from you, which means in order to stop any oppression against the invader, you're likely to come and disarm your military, and your people are going to be enslaved. What does this mean is that you don't have the capability to fight back, because the two prerequisites for throwing away your oppressors were basically capital and basically having a critical mass. The moment you lose capital, the moment you're being pillaged away, and you lose critical mass, the moment your people are enslaved. I don't think this is a life that we wanted as a king. They could never stand in this debate. But then CG goes on to talking about how your allies are likely to sacrifice you off, and this was in direct contention with Divvesh's point about how you can have allies coming to help you out. Firstly, these people are already your allies, which means they have an incentive to fight back because now they also have a target on their back. Which means if you've got a political ties with this small state, the rival clan coming to invade you is also likely to go after you because you are basically the other wealthy countries, and you're basically in political contact with them. They are likely to want to end this. So these allies are likely to want to end this threat. So they're likely to give a lot of resources to fend off this threat. What does this mean is that they're gonna put down a lot of crucial capital and a lot of crucial resources and pinpoint it towards the oppressors who are coming to invade this space to likely fight off. This was one of the structural reasons why you can genuinely win the war. I'll be giving more later in my speech. But then they go on to talk about how these individuals in this small city who are the individuals who operate this trade, and they're likely there's no incentive to attack them and enslave them. And this is also in contention with what we were talking about, how these individuals have no bargaining power. But I'll be talking about this right now. The king and the structure of this rule are the people who operate this, and it was never in the incentive for an oppressor to come and let these individuals retain power, because they can likely just take over and replace the current king to gain access to the multiple trade routes and the political ties from the city. What does this mean is that since it's a wealthy small city, it's likely to be placed in a strategic position where they're likely to have a lot of political ties, and it's likely to be a trade route, something like that, which got them this wealth in the first place. I think that the moment that these individuals are able to replace the current king, that is the moment that they're able to unlock this sort of wealth without even needing to keep the older the predecessors of the king, predecessors of this faith. I think they never had an incentive to do this. But then they talk about how you anyway are going to lose, and this came from both government sides. Firstly, you never engage with Divvesh when he gave you three structural reasons why you legitimately have a chance to fight against these people. Firstly, it was about our military capabilities. Since we are a wealthy state and we've got an elite military, that means we have a good chance of fighting back because we've got the capabilities. But also because we are wealthy, we have political ties and diplomatic ties which help us gain allies and foreign aid, and these people are likely to help us. I already explained this before in the rebuttal. But thirdly, you also have public support. People are likely to listen to you because they've got faith in the king, which means on a much simpler basis, you've got better public relations, which means you're able to motivate people to fight for you, and you have critical mass, which is crucial in preventing this sort of threat. But onto the main part, about what happens when you surrender on government side. I think it's easier to visualize what happens. Since you're a wealthy state, you will likely to be pillaged and your people will also be enslaved because they lack bargaining chips against them. B, you are unable to maintain order and not able to gain autonomy because you lack capital and resources to mobilize to basically talk and impact on this a bit more. What we need is the moment individuals